Speaking of just people with proceedings at the Spa Centre in Leamington, it's getting a £30,000 makeover. Let's find out what that's all about, how's it going to look, and when's it all going to start. Andrew Flint, the General Manager of the Spa Centre, with us on the show. Morning.
Good morning, how you doing?
I think I just called you the wrong name. I called you Andrew rather than Antony.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming in anyway.
Don't worry.
Nice to see you. So exciting times, £30,000. How's it all going to be spent?
It's all going to be spent in the public areas. Well, 95% of it is going to be spent in the public areas. It's about trying to make the centre a more enjoyable experience for our audiences. You know, this is when we came to speak to you last time. I think we said it was kind of a two-phase thing. One is to make sure that the work that we put on the stages is a more kind of interesting mix to a wider range of people. But I can do that, and we are getting on very well with that sort of work, and we'll be announcing the season soon. But if we're getting new people through the door, we need to make sure it's a place that people want to come back to and spend a bit of time in. So part of that is to change the interior of the building over from something which hasn't had an awful lot of attention for the last probably 10 or 15 years or so into something that's a bit more attractive. So it's all going to be on the public foyer areas, and we're talking about really paint on the walls, floor coverings and furnishings, that kind of limited sort of commercial stuff.
Let's just take a step back then, because last time you were with us, you were talking in very different circumstances really about the fact that the future of the Spa Centre is not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. So the fact you're spending this money, does that mean it's all clear for the future now?
Well, all clear is probably a bit strong just at the moment. I mean, I still have this 2-year window. I still have a 2-year contract, and to make the centre as good as it can be within 2 years. But what I would say is that I've met with the leader of the council, the chief exec of the council, all the way through the councils down to the officers and all the rest of us. And I've not met a single person which has talked about closing the Spa Centre at all. They've all been very supportive about the changes we're making and the future for it. But there is this 2-year window that we need to look at, and across these 2 years we need to look at all the options that are available for the centre and that site.
Some would say it's a bit of a waste of money, isn't it? If it could close within 2 years, less than 2 years now, probably upon 18 months, some would say it's a bit of a waste of money. It's spending £30,000 of taxpayers' money if the future isn't guaranteed. That's
true, I suppose. But it's a little bit like taking over a shop or any other business. You know, you could put on all the best meals in the world at a restaurant, but if it was the interior was not very nice, you wouldn't get people coming back again. So that's what this is about. You can't change the offering without making sure the interior and the kind of the ambience of the place suits it. So I think it'd be kind of naive to say we couldn't spend any money on it at all and still make it a fantastic centre. It has to be appropriate, and I'm not going in and saying, if I had come in and said we're going to spend £100,000, £250,000, you'd probably have a fair point actually. But this is a relatively small amount of money in the overall scheme of things. It's something like 4 or 5% of our turnover, so it's a reasonable amount of money, and it's a sum of money I'm comfortable about that we'll earn back within these 2 years.
So is it fair to say then that without spending this money, it would make saving the Spa Centre that much more difficult?
I would say make it almost impossible.
When does it all start?
We close our doors on the 29th of July, and we're opening again on the 4th of September. So it's about 6 weeks or so. So we'll be opening in early September with the new programme on the stage and the new foyers and the new public areas. So it should all be happening from then on. And
does that lose you a fair bit of money those 6 weeks over? Because that's just kind of what, school holidays time?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit. It takes away some of the programming time, but that summer period is always slightly dicky for theatres anyway, because the sun's shining and people don't really want to be sat inside. So we tend to do a lot of the hires and things then. So there is a bit of a knock-on, but there's always a shutdown in that summer period, as is just a little bit longer than normal. That's all.
So once you're open with the look of paint looking sparkly and fantastic, with that £30,000 spent, who can we expect to see?
Well, it's a real mixed range actually in the main stage. I think the first big act is Claire Sweeney's coming with Tell Me on a Sunday, 3 nights of the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. We've got Mark Little coming to do Defending the Caveman. We've got London Classic Theatre coming to do some the Caretaker, the Pinter piece, along with some of the best of the tribute shows and the music shows and the comedy. We've got Joe Pasquale, Bradley Walsh, all those kind of people coming along. But in the studio, you'll see what I have to call it the studio. It's what was the cinema. We've put a stage in there, so actually we're able to still show film in there, but also show some of the more kind of interesting 1- and 2-hander and comedy quirky pieces in there. So it'll be a real mix of things in there. Really.
Keep in touch. I'm sure we'll see you before you close at the end of July. Thanks a lot for your time. Antony Flint, the General Manager of the Spa Centre in Leamington, all set for a little bit of a facelift thanks to £30,000 being spent. And just before the news headlines, quick question for you, Antony, from the Spa Centre. Dennis in Leamington's been in touch with us on the show. He says, what about the seating, especially downstairs? You can do anything about that? He says it's really hard. I guess he spends a lot of time shuffling when he's doing events at the Spa Centre.
We have two spaces, two auditoria. We have the cinema seating and the main stage seating. The main stage is something we really can't do anything about. You know, that will cost it's something like another £100,000 worth of spend to actually put new seating in there. We'd love to put retractable seating and comfy seating in there, but at this moment in time it's just not practical.
So it's going to fold up chairs for a good chunk of it, is that right?
No, it's not. No, they're fixed chairs, but they do come in and out, and they have been there for some years now. So I understand what Dennis is saying. I suspect that if there's something more interesting on the stage, he might well be a little bit less worried about what his bottom's on. So maybe that'll kind of work out. But in the studio, the seats there have been there since 1972 when it opened, and probably haven't been touched since. So some of them are older than I am actually in there. So we will be doing some refurbishment in there, but that's a much smaller amount of money. So we'll be doing that.
I think you have Ken Dodd there quite a lot, don't you?
Ken, we spoke to Ken's lot last week actually. We were talking about January.
He goes on until the early hours. I would imagine, no matter what you're sitting on, you're going to get a number.
I tried really hard. We got about midnight last year. So
yeah, you've got a survey on that you want people to take part in what they want to see.
Yeah, well, Dennis' question kind of prompts it really. That part of this is we're a public building funded with public money, and we want to know what the public think about us and this refurbishment. So if people go online to the District Council website or onto our website, there's an online survey there on the front page, and they can go in and have a look at the plans for the redevelopment and what we're going to be putting on the stages and have their say.
Okay, we've got the details here in case anyone wants to get in touch as well.
Great.
Thanks a lot for your time, Anthony.